Well, folks, for the final time, this is my review of this week's episode of The Walking Dead. And yes, it's going to be a recap too, because we're going to have to just talk about all things in this finale episode. And man, it's just, for lack of better words, it's just emotional, man. And, I watched the episode, obviously, and took a lot of time to really just process all the feelings, all the emotions, because I love this series and I love the comics and I love what this series and the comics have created. This community of folks through all different mediums coming together to love The Walking Dead. And it's a very positive community. Yeah, there's a lot of folks who want rumors and a lot of folks who like to spoil things. I don't really condone that. But nonetheless, it's nothing but diehard fans, loyalists from all over the world who comes together to watch this show. And the fact that it's coming to an end after 11 years, I think 177 episodes, it's just a lot to really take in. And even for an hour and a half, which, by the way, this finale was beautiful. This is one of the best finales I've ever seen. Take notes, Game of Thrones. This finale was amazing here. But it still was a lot to process, and it's a lot of things I want to kind of talk about here. But I just want to say I definitely appreciate and love everybody who has supported my reviews throughout this time. I know there's a bunch of other major outlets covering this with exclusive interviews and news and all sorts of different things. But the fact that you all come here to listen to what I have to say, I appreciate it a lot. And again, it's just a testament to this community. There's a lot of good people in this community that just love these characters, love these actors, love the content, and all the different mediums, whether it's the video games, whether it's the comics, the series, the web series, all of it. These folks are loyal out here, and the fact that we are able to all come together and love and appreciate it is a beautiful thing. But the first thing I want to say is, and I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but I think the spinoffs, and I've been saying this in my previous reviews, is that the spinoffs really did take a lot of the emotional toll out of this, because we knew certain characters were going to be protected, and it kind of cheated us from some moments that could have been much bigger. And yes, the Daryl and Carol moment was beautiful. The Negan and Maggie moment was beautiful. But it still was the idea that we knew they were going to be okay, because I think a lot of the reasons why we love this show is because it's a survival show, and we are always in a situation of unpredictability where we just don't know who may die. And even with Rosita in this, being the supreme mama bear and doing everything she could to protect her kid is a really beautiful thing. But the fact that we got to see that she was bit, it broke my heart. And, thinking about, with Gabriel and then with Eugene and just those moments that they had with her, and she's just kind of still very selfless. I was just bawling. This was sad, man. But it's just, again, just the reason why we love this show is because we love these characters. And when we lose these characters, even in the finale that we lose a character that there will be no more episode, we still are completely broken. Dad, we lost Rosita. No, we lost everybody, but yes, Rosita died. It's just a sad thing, But I will have to say that Christian going into the office and basically saying this is how she wanted Rosita's fate to be, I actually think that was a very smart tactical move here. Because, if you don't know when you're going to die, but you can pitch to have your character die in the finale, that means you make it to the end, essentially. And she literally makes it to the end. But if you don't, then you don't know when you may get that moment of so you're going to die this episode, and you don't make it to the end. So it's kind of interesting, because seeing Christian on stage and kind of just very confident and this is what I wanted to do, not really emotional. It's the difference from when we see characters killed off from characters that say no, I wanted to be killed off. The ones who were surprised about them being killed off to the ones that are I wanted to be killed off, this is the first of the case. So it's interesting, but it still was emotional nonetheless. There's so much to talk about here. I have no notes, so I'm going all rifting here. So you're going to have to bear with me as I bounce around, and hopefully you all can chime in the comments below about other things to talk about. But yeah, let's just talk about the spinoffs real quick. We know we got the Maggie and Negan spinoff, Dead City, which is going to be in Jersey. We know that Negan gave Judith that letter as he sort of goes off on his own. That means at some point Maggie's going to have to eventually catch up to him. And the moment that Maggie and Negan had the moment of like Negan apologizing for Glenn's death, which is the first time he's done, and Maggie accepts it. She doesn't. It's not one of those, okay, so she understands it. It's not totally of her accepting it. It's just like she understands it more. And I also think that's a very still a big moment, but very therapeutic moment for the two of them, which will still make their spinoff very interesting. And I gotta be like brutally honest. I feel like, I don't know why, but I actually feel like there's gonna be a connection between the two of them. Like, opposites attract. And I have a strange feeling about the two of them. Like, I don't know. They were having moments where it just kind of felt very mildly romantic. And I don't know why I was feeling that way, but I kind of see that. I know Negan's married and all this other sorts of thing, but like, I don't know. And then the Daryl and Carol thing, where we do know that there was going to be a Daryl and Carol spinoff, but then Melissa McBride stepped away from the project. So now it's just the Daryl Dixon show as he goes to France. And that's going to be interesting because he's on a motorcycle leaving town. How the hell did he get overseas? That's going to be the biggest question because, yeah, they're in Virginia. And Negan and Maggie goes to New Jersey. And we seen Rick, who is clearly across the pond of New York, which makes him in Jersey. So it's going to be interesting about how this all goes about logistically, you know. But yeah, the spinoffs are, and again, we're getting more Walking Dead content from the Walking Dead universe. But although the main flagship show is done, we still got a lot more to look forward to, and Fear's still there as well too. The time jump, I guess we could talk about that a little bit. Now seeing that who's running the Commonwealth. None other than King Ezekiel, and the fact that first of all, I gotta say that having this moment of the brothers coming together was super special. Mercer and Ezekiel story arc wasn't heavily featured towards until the second half of the third part of season 11. But the fact that the two brothers are now running the Commonwealth, man, I love that. I love that how like they had a moment of like not trusting each other to the moment of them really siding with each other. And I know that, I know that Ezekiel and Negan had a little bit of fallout, but let's just call it what it is. Ezekiel and Mercer never really had a moment of really coming together as well too. It's almost like Ezekiel was just kind of off to the side, and then he started to be heavily featured in sort of situations with other characters, like the Negan and Ezekiel thing where they had never talked and they had issues obviously. And then you had then you have the Ezekiel and Mercer thing where they really wasn't really a thing, and then they formed together a bond. So like it's really cool to kind of see Ezekiel's sort of like story arc in this. And yeah, he should be the one to rule. And I know there's been rumors that it could have been Carol, it could have been Mercer, it could have been Maggie, I heard, but I think Ezekiel is the right choice here, considering that he's already ran a very functional town, and he is a man of the people, and he's kind of just been out the way. So, you know, it's really cool. But him and Mercer running together, gotta love it for the culture here. What else can we talk about? Let's talk about all the promotional work here. Even through every commercial, we were seeing zombified commercials of folks who used to be on the show, which I just mean that they really, really went hard in making this work. From, you know, the live event that they had in LA to every bit of the commercials, from the hour-and-a-half special of Talking Dead. I mean, they really, really, really made sure that they sent the fans off completely fulfilled and satisfied with all things Walking Dead. So it was cool to see folks that we had seen throughout this time of the series, and people coming in with their interviews and kind of giving their blessings and graces to their time of being on the show and stuff like that. There's a lot that they really did in this. So the promotional stuff was just really good. And then when you talk about what they did in this finale with the callbacks and some little Easter eggs, I mean, Chandler being in the back of a scene, Chandler, who used to play Carl Grimes, like him just being in the back is like a really big, easily overlooked Easter egg. I thought that was really cool. there was so many different things, man, that they just did that just really, really made this work. It was beautiful. And then yeah, I gotta, you know, obviously talk about the other deaths that we had, and I think that, you know, Luke is it was sad. It was a very sacrificial sort of death here, and I just think that when you think about these characters who just meant so much, and I'm saying Luke, Jerry, no, Luke, I'm sorry. When you think about characters like Luke and Jerry, who, you know, who's just done so much just in the background, and even though they don't have like these very, very big pivotal moments at times, they mean so much. And losing Luke was definitely heartbreaking. He was a sacrificial lamb here. And I mentioned Jerry because there had been rumors that Jerry was also not going to make it. And obviously, as we see Elijah come back, you started to think like, oh my God, where's Jerry? Then Jerry shows up. He's like, okay, cool. Because we didn't want to lose anybody, you know. And Lydia and Elijah having that moment, and when Jerry got out of the RV and it kind of got that glare, I was just kind of like, oh, that's the last time we're going to see him. And it would have just been a sad kill off because we would not have seen him, but it would have just been like, it would have still been just as much as impactful as anybody else. So yeah, just, you know, losing Luke, and we had lost Jerry, man. But yeah, I'm trying to think. So yeah, we gotta talk about the last moments here. Michonne and Rick. I mentioned Rick looks like he's trying to escape the CR with a CR jacket, looking fresh out of an episode of World Beyond. And as we can see in the backdrop, that's clearly New York. We know they're in New York because that's also where the crew from World Beyond was going and eventually got to. But he's across the pond, and the helicopter is basically like, listen, man, there's no escape. You're going to need to come back. But he did make it pretty far. And again, across the pond from New York is New Jersey. So New Jersey is also where, as I said, Dead City is at, where Maggie and Negan, which you have to imagine if we get a run in with the three of them, that's going to be interesting. But Michonne, who is in this new armor, looking badass, looking like a character out of Dynasty Warriors, as she's about to be 1v1,000 these walkers here, as she looks to get back to Rick. We know we got that spinoff coming, and it also looks like there's a possibility that RJ and Judith may be somewhat involved in this, because even that moment of how that scene was kind of transitioning, looks like they may have something to do with it, and that'll be interesting, you know. But Michonne and Rick are trying to find one another. That's their goal. They've always had this trust that they would get back to each other, and that's what seems like the arc of this is going to be. So we got to see how that kind of play out, man. I'm super excited because the movie would have been 3 hours, but now that we're getting much more than that, I'm absolutely on board for it. And I think that this is definitely going to fill that void of us missing The Walking Dead. It should, because we got two of our main characters being the featured characters for this spinoff. Should be absolutely good. I mean, this is not like, and as much as we love Negan and Maggie, it's not that, because that's a spinoff that truly feels like a spinoff. This feels like a continuation of the main story, just veering off from all of the characters in general. So smaller cast, in other words. And obviously there'll be some other folks. Obviously, I think we're going to see some people from World Beyond involved with this as well too. So we're gonna have to see. But yeah, I think that, you know, the flashbacks of all the other previous episodes and just all the good moments and everything was just so emotional, man. This is a lot that we got with this, and I just can't stress enough that for 11 seasons, this has been some of the best television I've ever watched. This show has just been top tier good in terms of not just the shows itself, but like the community it built, the involvement within the community, you know, going to Comic Cons and other sorts of cons and having activations, all the different levels of merchandising. It just continued to just thrive. And I think that, like, knowing that this was all really built off of a comic that then was pitched as a show, and then it just did monumental numbers, and yes, people stopped watching, but the hardcore loyalists stayed. and stayed and still stand because we still got other shows to go on. I think that, it's been some of the best television ever. It's year round. Even though when they're on their breaks, it's year round because they always just find ways to just be involved in different things that are happening. And then this cast, you can tell how they truly love this series. And I gotta say that I was on The Talking Dead. I gotta say that Ross, who plays Aaron, him being emotional like he was, I just couldn't believe it, man. Because that's another character who meant so much to us, and the fact that character means so much to him, and how this show saved his life essentially. You talking about having financial troubles and didn't really know where his next job was going to be. I mean, it's just beautiful stories up and down the board, man. And I don't know. And then the moment of seeing the Grinds all together for the first time was special. I feel like RJ should have been in there too, but okay, we'll just let that slide. But yeah, Carl and Judith. It's just like, yeah, this is a moment that we'll never have, but it was really cool. I do have to say that when it comes down to the whole idea that, who Lori coming back and Sarah, who plays Lori, I gotta say that her coming on stage, like, I've never worked with you all, and then said that she doesn't watch the show. I was a little bit surprised about that. I was just like, wait, really? But I can understand that, like, how much this means to somebody, and then being killed off, and then you're just like, yeah, I don't want to have that. I don't want to have that feeling in my heart of feeling like, what if, or I still should be around, or whatever it may be. It could be a lot for her, but she still means so much to her, and the fact that she came makes her a good sport. And just seeing the Grinds all together, Lori, Carl, and Judith minus RJ is completely funny to me. I don't know, man. This big thank you to Greg, Nicotero, Angela Kane, just everybody who just really brought this all together. It's been a fun ride. It's been a fun adventure, man. And you all coming to check out my reviews have meant the world to me. And we're still going to be around for World Beyond, for Fear, for Dead City, for Daryl Dixon, whatever the title that's going to be, and Rick and Michonne Rick, whatever that's going to be called. We'll be around for all of that. But as far as The Walking Dead, the last episode, rest in peace, man. So glad that Judith made it, because that was a little bit of a scare. And I really thought those little hazy scenes that we was having was her in a dream or something. I don't know. I'm just glad that it all worked out. And, Rosita, being Mama Bear, protecting Coco, being big, dying, the year jump, seeing that the Commonwealth is thriving, everyone's happy. It's a really beautiful, happy ending. And just all the callbacks, the Easter eggs, the nods to previous episodes, they really nailed it. And for Luke and Jules, man, who sacrificed themselves for the protection of others, I mean, heroic. They deserve their love as well too. Also, how can I forget the cult of personality being played? Holy hell, didn't see that coming. That was so cool. So cool. Good music selection. It really amped things as things started to get sad. And then the showdown begun. But yeah, what a ride, man. What a ride. And again, I didn't have notes for this. I'm a little bit all over the place, but obviously because it just was an emotional episode, and I just wanted to make sure that I got something out for you all. But you all jump in the comments. Let me know some of your favorite moments, your thoughts, predictions going forward, things I could do better for future reviews. I just want to make sure that I'm still here, part of the community, putting out content for you all. And hopefully we can meet in person, man, as we get back to a normal world. And The Walking Dead is going to be all over the place. Conventions and the shows are going to have involved. The new shows are going to have involvements with things. So love to meet some of you all and some of these other folks in the Walking Dead community. But until then, folks, we're signing off for the last time, because this is my final review of The Walking Dead. Jump in the comments, folks. Love you all. Be safe, and we'll see you back very soon for more reviews in the Walking Dead universe.